कलिध लोका त्राणाय कारुण्य गण गणात्वं प्राप्तस्य कल्याण गुरार्णवस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् महाप्रभु कीर्तन नित्य गीता वादित्र माद्यान् मनसुरसेना रोमाञ्चकम्पा शुतुरङ्गभाजो वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीविग्रहाराधननित्यनाना शृङ्गारतन्मन्दिरमजनार्दो युक्तस्य भक्तां शनियुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् चतुर्विधा श्रीभगवत्प्रसादो स्वादन्नतृप्तामरिभक्तसङ्गाम् कृत्वैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयोरपारा माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्ना प्रतीक्षणास्वादनलोलोपस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् निकुञ्जयो नो रतिकिलिसिद्ध्या यायालिभिर्योक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रादिदाक्षादतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षाधरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे युक्तस्तथा वा यथैव शब्दे किन्तु प्रभोया प्रियैव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादा भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादा न गति कुतोऽपि ध्यायं शुभं तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यां वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे जय प्रभुपाद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। चैतन्य नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। चैतन्य नित्यानंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav, Radha, Nila Madhav, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha, Nila Madhav, Radha, Nila Madhav, Shri Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra, Jayo Sudarshana. Jayo Sita Ram, Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman, Jayo Sita Ram, Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman. Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha. Jayo Gaura Nitai, Jayo Gaura Nitai, Jayo Gaura Nitai, Jayo Gaura Nitai. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, Gurudev, गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निथाय गौर हरि बोल निथाय गौर हरि बोल
नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रवक्ताचार्य स्कोन फाउंडरचार्य कृष्ण कृपा मूर्ति चरणारविंदे श्री भक्ति वेदांत श्री पोपाद महाराज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव विंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गोवर्धन की जय। गोप गोपीनाथ की जय। श्री धाम श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। अयोध्या धाम की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। धर्म क्षेत्र कुरुक्षेत्र ज्योतिष तीर्थ धाम की जय। संवेद भक्तविंद की जय। युगधर हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। गौर निताय की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे ऑल ग्लोरी संबल हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरी संबल हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरी संबल हरे कृष्ण। जय श्री गौर गंगा श्री पोपात महाराज जी। नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय श्रीमद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रहलाद लाद दायिने हिरण्यकाशी पूर्वसः चिलटंका नखराये ये तो नरसिंहा पर तो नरसिम्हा नरसिंहं दिं शरणं प्रपदे न हृदय नरसिंहा नरसिंहं दिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमल भरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशव धीरता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव केशव धीरता नर हरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय नरसिंह देव जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद भक्त प्रहलाद जय भक्त प्रहलाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय गुरुदेव 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 बोल नरसिंह भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद की जय वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवती नमो नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवती वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवती नमो नमः
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः जितो मार शरण लोय तारा वांछ पूर्णा होय कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी मोराए अभिलाष विलास कुंजे दियो वास नयने हेरी बो सदा जुगल रूप राशि नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः निवेदानाधारो सकीरनुगाता कोरो सेवाधिकारो दिए कोरो निज दासी दीन कृष्ण दासे को ये नमोरा हो श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदा ये नबाशी नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे तानि तानि प्राणशन्ति यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्राणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Vrinde Devi, Jayo Vrinde Devi, Jayo Vrinde Devi, Jayo Vrinde Devi. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. वृंदा देवी की, तुलसी महारानी की। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्चाय विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्चाय विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश्चाय विष्णु भक्ति प्रतिदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदा देवी की, तुलसी महारानी की।
Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavana. My dear Lord, also grant me residence in the precious groves of Shri Vrindavana town. Thus within my vision I shall always behold the beautiful paths and Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower, Karho Dancer of the Virgin. Please give me the privileged devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always swim in the love of Shri Radha and Govind. Srimati Tulasi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 fences in the matter of chanting holy name should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees of dedicated life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the name of the demigods or Lord Shiva or Brahma to be equal to independent name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the order of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuing the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activity and strength to chanting the holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna as one of our auspicious ritual activities, offering the Vedas as free activities, karma, kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glorious holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachment in your understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee claims to Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses. In order to quickly achieve desired success, Krishna Prema. Now let us of most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as trees who can fulfill to everyone, and they full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto Darpanamarjanam Pavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chantrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Pudivardhanam Pratipadam Purunamita Sadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra pita niyamita smaranena kalaha etadishi tava kripa bhagavam mamapi durudeva mi desham yaha janina nurakaha Trinatapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sata Harihi Na Thanam Natajam Nasundarim Kavitam Vachakati Shakamaya Mama Jammani Jamanishvare Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Tavai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Puto Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Duri Satisham Vichintaya Nayanam Karata Shuru Daraya Vadanam Kat Kata Rudaya Gira Pulaka Nichitam Mapurukata Tavanama Kahane Bhavishati Yuga Itam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravisha Itam Shunya Itam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahename Ashrishava Padaratam Pinnastumam Adarshanam Marmahatam Karotuva Yatha Tathava Vitathatu Lampato Matprana Nathastu Se Eva Na Paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Shastakam Ki Jai. Glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all that does accumulate for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life for repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads a rays and benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which all is anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benedictions human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, they are vested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, our kindness enables us to easily approach you by holy names, but I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tall than a tree, devoid all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Sanhamarnanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow I fall in the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me at one to add them to the lotus feet. O my Lord, while my eyes spectacular tears of love flowing constantly when I chant the holy name, while my voice choke up or the hairs of my body stand at the recitation of your name. O Govinda, feeling of separation and constant moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shastakam Ki Jai. Shri Mangala Charna Prayers Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshum Mritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pachadesha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanivi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadaya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Mutaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Pava Bhumistvam Nirdishta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhaumashri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakham Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Sratoro Pangor Mama Mandar Mater Gati Masarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Divindadana Kalpajumada Shimadra Nagara Singhasanasto Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtari Bi Sevyamano Smarami Shiman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsi Vada Tatastitaha Karasham Venu Suner Gopir Gopinatha Shiyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Thathara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Mangala Charna Prayers Ki Jai Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadirati Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satmasuka Paviksha Lakshariteshu Surabi Rabi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasa Shatasam Brahmasevyamanam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Venum Kavanantam Aravinda Talayataksham Parharvatam Samasitam Puttasundarangam Kantarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Alola Chantakala Savanamara Vamshi Ranang Kadam Panayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Chipanga Lalitam Yatapakasham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Angani Yasya Sakalentira Vittimanti Pashanti Panti Karayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chimma Satu Jula Vigrahasya Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Advaitam Achotam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durapam Madurapam Atma Bhakto Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamiu Vayurathapi Manaso Muni Pangavanam Sopyasti Yapapata Simya Vechinta Tatve Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ekopya Sorachayitum Jagatanta Kotim Ya Chakti Rasti Jagatanta Chaya Yatantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Yad Bhava Bhavitadiyo Manujastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasanayana Pushaha Suktayam Eva Nikama Patitai Stuvanti Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ananda Chimmerasa Patipavitabi Tapi Evan Jarupa Tayakalabihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Buddho Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Premanjana Churuta Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sateva Hidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Ramadi Murtishu Kalanya Mena Tishtan Nanavataram Avkaro Puvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Parama Pumamyo Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Pajami Krishna, who is not Govinda, is the supreme Godhead, has the eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and the prime cause of all causes. I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows. yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purple trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendent form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay. He is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning, and the eternal Purusha. Yet he is the person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord, whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidants, Saki. Embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyamasundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc. as the subjective portions. Sri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Srinvatam swakata Krishna punya sravana kirtanaha hrudayanta hisohi apatrani vidinoti suhritsatam nasta prayesva abhatreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayaschaye cheta eter anavidam stitam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogatah bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya granteschityante sarva samasyah shiyante chasya karmani drushta evatmanishware.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of Asamshayam Samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 18. Uddhava satyakischaiva vyajane parabhute vikira mana kusumai reje madhupati pati. Uddhava, a cousin brother of Krishna's, Satyaki, his driver, Cha, and Eva, certainly, Vyajane, engaged in fanning, Parama, Adbhute, decorative, Vikirmayanaha, seated on scattered, Kusumai, flowers all around, Reje, commanded, Madhupati, the master of Madhu, Krishna, Pati, on the road. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Uddhava and Satyaki began to fan the Lord with decorated fans, and the Lord, as the master of Madhu, seated on scattered flowers, commanded them along the road.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.10.19 Ashriyanta shisha satyas tatra tatra dvijeritaha nanurupa nurupascha nirgunasya gunatmanaha. Ashriyanta, being heard, ashishaha, benediction, satya, all truths, tatra, here, tatra, there, dvija irita, sounded by learned brahmanas, na, not, anurupa, befitting, anurupa, fitting, ja, also, nirgunasya, of the absolute, Gunatmana, playing the role of a human being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. At places there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being, as if a cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthir. But they were also unfitting because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material relativities. He is nirguna, or there are no material qualities in him, but he is full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world, there is nothing contradictory, whereas in the relative world, everything has its opposite. In the relative world, while white is the opposite conception of black, but in the transcendental world, there is no distinction between white and black. Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the absolute person. But when they are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. One example may clear this idea. Lord Sri Krishna is sometimes described as a thief. He is very famous amongst his pure devotees as a Makhan Chor. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavana in his early age. Since then, he is famous as a thief. But in spite of his being famous as a thief, he is worshipped as a thief, whereas in the mundane world, a thief is punished and is never praised. Since he is the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him, and still, in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead.
Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 20. Anyonyam asit sanjalpa uttama shloka chetasam Kauravendra purastrinam sarva sruti manohara. Anyonyam, among each other. Asit, there was. Sanjalpa, talking. Uttama shloka, the supreme, who is praised by selected poetry. Chetasam, of those whose hearts are absorbed in that way. Kaurava Indra, the king of the Kurus. Pura, capital. Strinam, all the ladies. Sarva, all. Shruti, the Vedas. Manahara, attractive to the mind. Translation. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapura began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in all the Vedic literature, the goal is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Factually, the glories of the Lord are depicted in such literature as the Vedas, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. And in the Bhagavatam, they are specifically mentioned in respect to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, while the ladies on the tops of the houses in the capital of the kings of the Kuru dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talk was more pleasing than the Vedic hymns. Anything sung in the praise of the Lord is Shruti Mantra. There are songs of Thakura Narottama Dasa, one of the Acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Thakura Vishwanatha Chakravarti, another very learned Acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs by Thakura Narottama Dasa to be as good as Vedic mantras. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. The ladies who were all absorbed in the thought and actions of the Lord developed the consciousness of Vedic wisdom by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, although such ladies might not have been very learned scholars in Sanskrit or otherwise, still whatever they spoke was more attractive than the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymns in the Upanishads are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord, but the talks of the ladies were directly spoken of the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. The ladies' talk appeared to be more valuable than the learned Brahmana's benedictions.
Savai Kilayam Purusha Paratano Paratano Ya Eka Ashid Aveshesha Atmani Egra Agre Gune Byo Jagat Atma Nishware Nimilitatam Manam Tatman Nimilitma Tatman Nishi Supta Saktishu
Sahi Krishna, why, as I remember, Kila, definitely, I am this Purusha, personality of Godhead, Puratana, the original, Yahu, Ekaha, only one, Asit, existed, Avishesa, materially unmanifested, Atmani, own self, Agre, before creation, Gunebhyaha, of the modes of nature, Jagatatmani, under the super soul, Ishware, under the supreme Lord, Nimilita, emerged into Atman, the living entity, Nishi Supta, inactive at night, Sakti issue of the energies.
Translation. They said, "Here he is, the original personality of Godhead. As we definitely remember him, he alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature. And in him only, because he is the supreme Lord, all living beings merge, as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended." Their purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are two types of dissolution of the manifested cosmos. At the end of every 4,320,000,000 solar years, when Brahma, the Lord of the one particular universe, goes to sleep, there is one annihilation. And at the end of Lord Brahma's life, which takes place at the end of Brahma's 100 years of age, in our calculation, at the end of 8 8,640,000,000 times 30 times 12 times 100 solar years. Can you calculate that on your phone? There is complete annihilation of the entire universe, and in both the periods, both the material energy called the Mahatattva and the material energy called Jiva Tattva, marginal energy called Jiva Tattva, in the person merge in the person of the Supreme Lord. The living beings remain asleep within the body of the Lord until there is another creation of the material world, and that is the way of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material manifestation. The material creation is affected by the interaction of the three modes of material nature set in action by the Lord. And therefore it is said here that the Lord existed before the modes of material nature were set in motion. In the Shruti mantra, it is said that only Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, existed before the creation, and there was no Brahma, Shiva, or other demigods. Well, Vishnu means the Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean. What's that? Causal ocean. By his breathing, only all the universes are generated, and seeds are gradually develop into gigantic forms with innumerable planets within each and every universe. The seeds of the universes develop into gigantic forms in the way seeds of a banyan tree develop into numberless banyan trees. This Mahavishnu is the plenary portion of the Lord Sri Krishna, who is mentioned in the Brahma Samhita as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead, Govinda, whose plenary portion is the Mahavishnu. All the Brahmas, the heads of the universe, live only for the period of his exhaling. After the universes are generated from the pores of his transcendental body. Brahma Samhita 5.58. Thus, Govinda, or Lord Krishna, is the cause of Mahavishnu also. The ladies talking about his Vedic truth must have heard it from authoritative sources. Authoritative sources. An authoritative source is the only means of knowing about transcendental subject matter. There is no alternative. The merging of the living beings into the body of Mahavishnu takes place automatically at the end of Brahma's 100 years. But that does not mean that the individual living being loses his identity. The identity there, and as soon as there is another creation by the supreme will of the Lord, all the sleeping and inactive living beings are again let loose to begin their activities in the continuation of past different spheres of life. It is called Shubdotita Nyaya, or awakening from sleep and again engaging in one's respective continuous duty. When a man is asleep at night, he forgets himself, what he is, what his duty is, and everything of his waking state. But as soon as he awakens from his slumber, he remembers all that he has to do and thus engages himself again in his prescribed activities. The living beings also remain merged in the body of Mahavishnu during the period of inhalation. But as soon as there is another creation, they arise to take up their unfinished work. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.18 through 20. The Lord existed before the creative energy was set in action. The Lord is not a product of the material energy. His body is completely spiritual, and there is no difference between his body and himself. Before creation, the Lord remained in his abode, which is absolute and one.
Text 10, text 10, verse 22. Canto 1, chapter 10, verse 22. Saveva bhuyo nijavira chodidam svajivamayam pragradam sishkashchitam anamaruptamani rupanamani viditsamano anushasara shastra kritik. Sa, he, eva, this, huya, again, nija, own personal, virya, potency, chodinam, performance of, swa, own, jiva, living being, mayam, external energy, pragratam, unto material nature, sisriga, shatim, while recreating, anama, without mundane designation, rupa atmani, forms of the soul, rupa namani, forms and names. Vidida samana, desire to avoid. Anushasara, entrusted. Sastragrit, the compiler of the revealed scripture. Translation. The personality of Godhead, again desiring to give names and forms to his parts and parcels, the living entities placed them under the guidance of material nature. By his own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord. They are of two varieties, namely Nityamukta and Nityabaddha. The Nityamuktas are eternally liberated souls, and they are eternally engaged in the reciprocation of transcendental loving service with the Lord in his eternal abode beyond the manifested mundane creations. But the Nityabaddha, or eternally conditioned souls, are entrusted to his external energy, Maya, for rectification of their rebellious attitude toward the Supreme Father. Nityabaddhas are eternally forgetful of their relation with the Lord as parts and parcels. They are bewildered by the illusory energy as products of matter, and thus they are very busy in making plans in the material world for becoming happy. They go on merrily with plans, but by the will of the Lord, both the plan makers and the plans are annihilated at the end of a certain period, as above mentioned. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.7 as follows. O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all the living entities merge into my nature. And again, when the time of creation is ripe, I begin creation by agency of my external energy. The word bhuya indicates again and again. That is to say, the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation is going on perpetually by the external energy of the Lord. He is the cause of everything, but the living beings who are constitutionally part and parcel of the Lord and are forgetful of the sweet relation are given a chance again and again to get rid of the clutches of the external energy and to revive his living being's consciousness The revealed scriptures were also created by the Lord. Vedic literatures are the guiding directions for the conditioned souls so they can get free from repetition of creation and annihilation of the material world and the material body. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, the created world and the material energy are under my control. Under the influence of Prakriti, automatically they are created again and again, and this is done by me through the agency of my external energy. Actually, the spiritual spark living entities have no material names or forms, but in order to fulfill their desire to lord it over the material energy of material forms and names, they are given a chance for such false enjoyment, and at the same time, they are given a chance to understand the real position through the revealed scriptures. The foolish and forgetful living being is always busy with false forms and false names. Modern nationalism is the culmination of such false names and false forms. Men are mad after false names and form. The form of body obtained under certain conditions is taken up as factual, and the name also taken bewilders the conditioned soul into misusing the energy in the names of so many isms. The scriptures, however, supply the clue for understanding the real position, but men are reluctant to take lessons from the scriptures created by the Lord for different places and times. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the guiding principle for all the human beings, but by the spell of material energy, they do not take care to carry out the programs of life in terms of Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam is postgraduate study of knowledge for one who has thoroughly understood the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, people have no taste for them, and therefore they are under the clutches of Maya for repetition of birth and death.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 23. Sava ayam yat padam atra surayo jitendriya nirjita matarishvanaha pashyanti bhakti utkali malatmana nanva eshat sattvam parimastrum arhati. Sa he, why, by providence. I am this, yat, that which. Padam atra, here is the same personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Surya, great devotees. Jita Indriya, who have overcome the influence of the senses. Nirchita, thoroughly controlled. Matarishvanaha, life. Pashyanti, can see. Bhakti, by dint of devotional service. Utkalita, developed. Amala Atmana, those whose minds are thoroughly cleansed. Nanu Esha, certainly by this only. Sattvam, existence. Parimastam, for purifying the mind completely. Arahati, deserved. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed by material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord can be known by in His real nature by dint of pure devotional service only. So it is stated here that only the great devotees of the Lord who are able to clear the mind of all material dust by rigid devotional service can experience the Lord as He is. Jitendriya means one who has full control over the senses. The senses are active parts of the body and their activities cannot be stopped. The artificial concepts, the artificial means of the yogic processes to take the senses inactive has proved to be abject failure, even in the case of great yogis like Vishwamitra Muni. Vishwamitra Muni controlled the senses by yogic trance, but when he happened to meet Menaka, a heavenly society woman, he became a victim of sex, and the artificial way of controlling the senses failed. But in the case of pure devotee, the senses are not at all artificially stopped from doing anything, but they are given different good engagements. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any inferior engagements. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the senses can be controlled only by better engagements. Devotional service necessitates purifying the senses or engaging them in the activities of the devotional service. Devotional service is not inaction. Anything done in the service of the Lord becomes at once purified of its material nature. The material conception is due to ignorance only. There is nothing beyond Vasudeva. The Vasudeva conception gradually develops in the hearts of the land, in the heart of the land after prolonged acceleration of the respective organs. But the process ends in the knowledge of accepting Vasudeva as in and in all. In the case of devotional service, this very same method is accepted from the very beginning, and by the grace of the Lord, all factual knowledge becomes revealed in the heart of a devotee due to dictation by the Lord from within. Therefore, controlling the senses by devotional service is the only and easiest means.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 24. Sava ayam sakyanugita satkato vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibihi ya ekaisho jagadatma leelaya shrujatyavatyaati na bhatatra sajate. Saha, he, why also? I am this Sakhi, O my friend, Anugita described Satkatha, the excellent pastimes, Vedeshu, in the Vedic literatures, Guyeshu, confidentially, Cha, as also, Guya, Vadbihi, by the confidential devotees, Ya, one who, Eka, one only, Isha, the supreme controller, Jagat, of the complete creation, Atma, super soul, Leelaya, by manifestation of pastimes, Shrujati, creates, Avati Atti, also maintains and analyzes, Na, never, Tatra, there, Sajjate, becomes attached to it. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. Purport. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literatures are glorifying the greatness of Lord Sri Krishna. Here it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam also. The Vedas are expanded by many branches and sub-branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord like Vyasa, Narada, Sukadeva Goswami, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahalad, Janaka, Bali, and Yamaraj. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam especially, the confidential parts of his activities are described by the confidential devotee Sukadeva Goswami. In the Vedanta Sutras or Upanishads, there is only a hint of the confidential parts of his pastimes. In such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane conception of his existence. His identity being fully spiritual, his form, name, quality, and paraphernalia, etc., have been elaborately distinguished from matter, and therefore he is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. But factually, he is the Supreme Person, Bhagavan, and he is partially represented as Paramatma or impersonal Brahman.
Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 25. Ida idharmena tamodiyo nrupa jivanti tatraisa hi sattvata kila datte bhagam satyamardam dayam yaso bhavaya rupani dadat juge juge. Yada, whenever he, assuredly, adharmena, against the principles of God's will, Tamadya, persons in the lowest material modes, Nrupaha, kings and administrator, Jivanti, like the animals, Tatra, thereupon, Esha, he, Hai, only, Sattvataha, transcendental, Kila, certainly, Datte, is manifested, Bhagam, supreme power, Satyam, truth, Ardham, positiveness, Dayam, mercy, Yasha, wonderful activities, Bhavaya, for the maintenance, Rupani, in various forms, Dadat, manifested, Yuge, different periods, Yuge, and say ages. Translation. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord, in his transcendental form, manifests his supreme power, the truth positive, shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As mentioned above, the cosmic creation is a property of the Supreme Lord. This is the basic philosophy of Ishopanishad. Everything is the property of the Supreme Being. No one should encroach upon the property of the Supreme Lord. One should accept only what is kindly awarded by Him. Therefore, the earth or any other planet or universe is absolute property of the Lord. The living beings are certainly His parts and parcels or sons, and thus every one of them has a right to live at the mercy of the Lord, to execute His prescribed work. No one therefore can encroach upon the right of another individual man or animal without being so sanctioned by the Lord. The king or the administrator is a representative of the Lord to look after the management of the Lord's will. He must therefore be a recognized person like Maharaja Yudhishthira or Parikshit. Such kings have a full responsibility and knowledge from authorities about the administration of the world. But at times, due to the influence of the ignorance mode of material nature, tamoguna, the lowest of the material modes, kings and administrators come into the power without knowledge and responsibility. And such foolish administrators live like animals for the sake of their own personal interest. The result is that the whole atmosphere becomes surcharged with anarchy and vicious elements. Nepotism, bribery, cheating, aggression, and therefore famine, epidemic, war, and similar other disturbing features become prominent in human society. And the devotees of the Lord or the faithful are persecuted by all means. All these symptoms indicate the time of incarnation of the Lord to re-establish the principles of religion and to vanquish the maladministrators. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. When the Lord then appears in His transcendental form without any tinge of material qualities, He descends just to keep the state of His creation in normal condition. The normal condition is that the Lord has provided each and every planet with all the needs of the native living beings. They can happily live and execute their predestined occupation to attain salvation at the end, following the rules and regulations mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The material world is created to satisfy the whims of the Nitya Baddha or everlasting conditioned souls, just as naughty boys are provided with playing cradles. Otherwise, there was no need of the material world. But when they become intoxicated with the power of material science to exploit the resources unlawfully without the sanction of the Lord, and that also only for sense gratification, there is necessity of the Lord's incarnation to chastise the rebellious and to protect the faithful. When He descends, He exhibits superhuman acts just to prove His supreme right, and materialists like Ravana and Hiranyakasipu and Kamsa are sufficiently punished. He acts in a manner which no one can imitate. For example, the Lord, when He appeared as Rama, bridged the Indian Ocean. When He appeared as Krishna from His very childhood, He showed superhuman activities by killing Putana, Agasura, Sakatasura, Kaliya, etc. And then his maternal uncle Kamsa. When he was at Dwaraka, he married 16,108 queens, and all of them were blessed with sufficient number of children. The sum total of his personal family members amounted to about 100,000, popularly known as Yaduvamsha. And again, during his lifetime, he managed to vanquish them all. He is famous as a Govardhana Dari Hari because he lifted at the age of only 7 the hill known as Govardhana. The Lord killed many undesirable kings in his time, and as Kshatriya he fought chivalrously. He is famous as Asa Mordva, unparalleled. No one is equal to or greater than him.
Text 26. Aho alam slagai gyatamam yadokulam aho alam punyatamam madodvanam yadesha pumsham rishabha shriya prati svajanmana chankramanena chanchati.
Aho, oh, Alam, verily, Slagyatamam, supremely glorified, Yado, of King Yadu, Kulam, dynasty, Aho, oh, Alam, verily, Punyatamam, supremely virtuous, Madhuvanam, the land of Madura, Yat, because, Esha, this, Pumsam, of all the living beings, Rishabha, the supreme leader, Shriya, of the goddess of fortune, Pati, husband, Swajanmana, by his appearance, Chenkramanena, by crawling, Cha Anchati, glories.
Translation. Oh, no. Oh, how supremely glorified in the dynasty of King Yadu, and how victorious is the land of Mathura, where the supreme leader of all living beings, the husband of the goddess of fortune, has taken his birth and wandered in his childhood. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of God Sri Krishna has expressively given a description of his transcendental appearance, disappearance, and activities. The Lord appears in a particular family or place by his inconceivable potency. He does not take his birth as a conditioned soul quits his body and accepts another body. His birth is like the appearance and disappearance of the sun. The sun arises on the eastern horizon, but that does not mean that the eastern horizon is part of the sun. Is the parent of the sun. The sun is existent in every part of the solar system, but he becomes visible at a scheduled time and so also becomes invisible at another scheduled time. Similarly, the Lord appears in this universe like the sun and again leaves our sight at another time. He exists at all times and at every place, but by his causeless mercy, when he appears before us, we take it for granted, and he has taken his birth. Anyone who can understand this truth in terms of the statement of relieved scriptures certainly becomes liberated just after quitting the prison body. Liberation is obtainable after many births and after great endeavor and patience and perseverance, in knowledge and renunciation. But simply by knowing in liberation out, simply by knowing in truth both the Lord's transcendental birth and activities, one can get liberation at once. This is the verdict of the Bhagavad Gita. But those who are in the darkness of ignorance conclude that the Lord's birth and activities in the material world are similar to those of the original living being. Such imperfect conclusions cannot give anyone liberation. His birth, therefore, in the family of King Yadu as the son of Yasudeva, and his transfer into the family of Nanda Maharaj and the land of Mathura, and are all transcendental arrangements made by the eternal potency of the Lord. The fortunes of the fortunes of the Yadu dynasty and that of the inhabitants of the land of Mathura cannot be materially estimated. If simply by knowing the transcendental nature of the birth and activities of the Lord one can get liberation easily, we can just imagine what is in store for those who actually enjoy the company of the Lord in person as a family member or as a neighbor. All those who were fortunate enough to associate with the Lord, the husbands of the goddess of fortune, certainly obtained something more than what is known as liberation. Therefore, rightly, the dynasty and the land are both ever glorious by the grace of the Lord.
Canto 1, chapter 10, verse 27. Ahobada swaryashastri sakshari kushastali punya yashaskari bhuya pashyanti nityam yedanugrahe sitam smidhavalogam swapatim smayat praja. Ahobada, how wonderful this is. Swayashasa, the glories of the heavenly planets. Trishashkari, that which defeats. Kaushastali, Dwaraka, Punya, virtue. Yashaskari, famous. Bhuva, the planet Earth. Pashyanti, see, Nityam, constantly. Yet that which Anugraha Ishtam, to bestow benediction. Smitavalogam, glance with the favor of sweet smiling. Swapadim, unto the soul of the living being, Krishna. Sma, used to. Yet Praja, the inhabitants of the place. Translation. Undoubtedly, it is wonderful that Dwaraka has defeated the glories of the heavenly planets and has enhanced the celebrity of the earth. The inhabitants of Dwaraka are always seeing the soul of all living beings, Krishna, in his loving feature. He glances at them and favors them with sweet smiles. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The heavenly planets are inhabited by demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna and Vayu, and the pious souls reach there after performance of many virtuous acts on earth. Modern scientists agree that the timing arrangement in higher planetary systems is different from that of the earth. Thus it is understood from revealed scriptures that the duration of life there is 10,000 years by our calculation. 6 months on earth is equal to 1 day on the heavenly planets. Facilities of enjoyment are also similarly enhanced, and the beauty of the inhabitants is legendary. The common men on the earth are very much fond of reaching the heavenly planets because they have heard that comforts of life are far greater there than on earth. They are now trying to reach the moon by spacecraft. Considering all this, the heavenly planets are more celebrated than the earth. But the celebrity of earth has defeated that of the heavenly planets because of Dwaraka, where Lord Sri Krishna reigned as king. 3 places, namely Vrindavana, Madhura and Dwaraka, are more important than the famous planets within the universe. These places are perpetually sanctified because whenever the Lord descends to earth, he displays his transcendental activities, particularly in these 3 places. They are perpetually the holy lands of the Lord, and the inhabitants still take advantage of the holy places, even though even though the Lord is now out of their sight. The Lord is the soul of all living beings, and He desires always to have all the living beings in their Swarupa, in their constitutional position, to participate in the transcendental life in His association. His attractive features and sweet smiles go deep into the heart of everyone, and once it is so done, the living being is admitted into the kingdom of God, from which no one returns. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. The heavenly planets may be very famous for offering better facilities for material enjoyment, but as we learn from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 20 to 21, one has to come back again to the earth as soon as the acquired virtue is finished. Dwaraka is certainly more important than the heavenly planets, because whoever has been favored with the smiling glance of the Lord shall never come back again to this rotten earth, which is certified by the Lord Himself as a place of misery. Not only this earth, but also the planets of the universe are places of misery, because in none of the planets within the universe is there eternal life, eternal bliss, and eternal knowledge. Any person engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is recommended to live in one of the above mentioned three places, namely Dwaraka, Madura, or Vrindavana. Because devotion service in these three places is magnified, those who go there to follow the principles in terms of instructions imparted in the revealed scriptures surely achieve the same results as obtained during the presence of Lord Sri Krishna. His abode and he himself are identical, and a pure devotee under the guidance of another experienced devotee can obtain all the results even at present.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 28. Nunam vrate snana utadineshvara samarchito yasa grihita pranibhi pibanti yasakya dharmatam muhur prajastriya sammumuhur yadashaya. Nunam, certainly in the previous birth, vrata, vow, snana, bath, huta, sacrifice in the fire, adina, by all these, Ishvara, the personality of Godhead, samarchita, perfectly worshipped, he, certainly, asya, his, greta pranibhi, by the married wives, pibanti, religious, ya, those who, saki, O friend, adhara amritam, the nectar from his lips, muhu, again and again, vrajastriya, the damsels of Rajabhumi, sammu moho, often fainted, yatashaya, expecting to be favored in that way. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O friends, just think of his wives, whose hands he has accepted, how they must have undergone vows, baths, fire sacrifices, and perfect worship of the Lord of the universe to constantly relish now the nectar from his lips by kissing. The damsels of Rajabhumi would often faint just by expecting such favors. Religious rites prescribed in the scriptures are meant to purify the mundane qualities of the conditioned souls, to enable them to be gradually promoted to the stage of rendering transcendental service unto the Supreme Lord. Attainment of this stage of pure spiritual life is the highest perfection, and this stage is called Swarupa, or the factual identity of the living being. Liberation means renovation of this stage of Swarupa. In that perfect stage of Swarupa, the living being is established in 5 phases of loving service, one of which is the stage of Madhurya Rasa, or the humor of conjugal love. The Lord is always perfect in himself, and thus he has no hankering for himself. He, however, becomes a master, a friend, a son, or a husband to fulfill the intense love of the devotee concerned. Herein, 2 classes of devotees of the Lord are mentioned in the stage of conjugal love. One is Swaktya, and the other is Parakya. Swakiya and the other is Parakiya. Both of them are in conjugal love with the personality of Godhead Krishna. The queens at Dwaraka were Swakiya, or duly married wives, but the damsels of Raja were young friends of the Lord while he was unmarried. The Lord stayed at Vrindavan till the age of 16, and his friendly relations with the neighboring girls were in terms of Parakiya. These girls, as well as the queens, underwent severe penances by taking vows, bathing, and offering sacrifices in the fire, as prescribed in the scriptures. The rites, as they are not an end in themselves, nor are fruitive action, culture of knowledge, or perfection in mystic power ends in themselves. They are all means to attain to the highest stage of Swarupa, to render constitutional transcendental service to the Lord. Each and every living being has his individual position in one of the above mentioned 5 different kinds of reciprocating means with the Lord. And in one's pure spiritual form of Swarupa, the relation becomes manifest without mundane affinity. The kissing of the Lord, either by his wives or his young girlfriends who aspire to have the Lord as their fiancé, is not of any mundane, perverted quality. Had such things been mundane, a liberated soul like Sukadeva would not have taken the trouble to relish them, nor would Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have been inclined to participate in these subjects after renouncing worldly life. The stage is earned after many lives of penance.
Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 29. Yaviryasulkena hritasvayamvare pramatya yachaida pramukan hi sushmina pradyumna sambamba sutadoya paro yacha hrita bauma vadi shastrasaha. Ya, the lady, Virya, prowess, Sulkina, by payment of the price, Ritaha, taken away by force, Sayamvare, in the open selection of the bridegroom. Pramatya, harassing, Chaidya, King Sishupala, Pramukan, headed by, he positively, Susmina, all very powerful, Pradyumna, Krishna's son, Samba, Amba, Suta, Adaya, children, Aparaha, other ladies, yeah, those, Cha also, Ahrita, similarly brought, Baumavade, after killing kings, Sahasrasaha, by the thousands. Translation. The children of these ladies, or Pradyumna, Samba, Amba, etc., ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati were forcibly taken away by him from their Swayamvara ceremonies after he defeated many powerful kings headed by Sishupala. And other ladies were also forcibly taken away by him after he killed Baumasura and thousands of his assistants. All of these ladies are glorious. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Exceptionally qualified daughters of powerful kings were allowed to make a choice of their own bridegrooms in open competition, and such ceremonies were called Swayamvara, or selection of the bridegroom. Because the Swayamvara was an open competition between the rival and valiant princess, such princes were invited by the father of the princess, and usually there were regular fights between the invited princely order in a sporting spirit. But it so happened that sometimes the belligerent princes were killed in such marriage fighting, and the victorious prince was offered the trophy princess for whom so many princes died. Rukmini, the principal queen of Lord Krishna, was a daughter of the king of Vidarbha, who wished that his qualified and beautiful daughter be given away to Lord Krishna. But her eldest brother wanted her to be given away to King Sishupala, who happened to be a cousin of Krishna. So there was open competition, and as usual, Lord Krishna emerged successful after harassing Sishupala and other princes by his unrivaled prowess. Rukmini had 10 sons like Pradyumna. There were other queens also taken away by Lord Krishna in a similar way. Full description of this beautiful booty of Lord Krishna will be given in the 10th canto. There were 16,100 beautiful girls who were daughters of many kings and were forcibly stolen by Baumasura, who kept them captive for his carnal desire. These girls prayed piteously to Lord Krishna for their deliverance, and the merciful Lord, called by their fervent prayer, released them all by fighting and killing Baumasura. All these captive princes were then accepted by the Lord as his wives, although in the estimation of society they were all fallen girls. The all powerful Lord Krishna accepted the humble prayers of these girls and married them with the adoration of queens. So altogether Lord Krishna had 16,108 queens at Dwaraka, and in each of them he begot 10 children. All these children grew up, and each had as many children as the father. The aggregate of the family numbered in the millions.
E- e- oh, e- एता परं श्रीत्वम् अपासिस्तपेस्लं सलं निरस्तशौचं बतसौ साधुकुर्वते या संग्रहत्कु पुष्करा लोचनाः पतिर्नाजत् आपत्ति अहर्तिभिर् हृदि स्पृशान्.
Eta, all these women, Param, highest, Stritvam, womanhood, Apastapeshalam, without individuality, Nirasta, without, Saucham, purity, Batasadu, auspiciously glorified, Kurvate, do they make, Yasam, from woes, Grihat, homes, Pushkara Lochna, the lotus eyed, Pati, husband, Najatu, never at any time, Apaiti, goes away, Ahriti, by presentation, Hridi, in the heart, Sprishan, endeared.
Translation. All these women auspiciously glorified their lives despite their being without individuality and without purity. Their husband, the lotus-eyed personality of God, had never left them alone at home. He always pleased their hearts by making valuable presentations. Purport. The devotees of the Lord are purified souls. As soon as the devotees surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord sincerely, the Lord accepts them. And thus the devotees at once become free from all material contaminations. Such devotees are above the three modes of material nature. There is no bodily disqualification of a devotee, just as there is no qualitative difference between the Ganges water and the filthy drain water when they are amalgamated. Women, merchants, and laborers are not very intelligent, and thus it is very difficult for them to understand the science of God or to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. They are more materialistic and less than them kshashas, etc. Kiratas are the Kiratas, Hunahas, Andras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abhiras, Kankas, Yavanas, Kashas, etc. But all of them can be delivered if they are properly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. By engagement in the service of the Lord, the designative disqualifications are removed. In his spirit souls, they become eligible to enter the kingdom of God. The following girls under the clutches of Brahmasura, Bhaumasura, sincerely prayed to Lord Shri Krishna of their deliverance. And their sincerity of purpose made them at once but pure by virtue of devotion. The Lord therefore accepted them as his wives, and thus their lives became glorified. Such auspicious glorification was still glorified when the Lord played with them as the most devoted husband. The Lord used to live with his 16,108 wives constantly. He expanded himself into 16,108 plenary portions. In each and every one of them was the Lord himself without deviation from the original personality. The Shruti mantra affirms that the Lord can expand himself into many. As husband of so many wives, he pleased them all with presentations, even at a costly endeavor. He brought the Parijata plant from heaven and implanted it all at the palace of Satyabhama, one of the principal queens. If therefore anyone desires the Lord to become one's husband, the Lord fulfills such desires in full. Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Today we read up to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, named Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka, and text 31. Text 30. We will read again tomorrow. Bye. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakati Sadma. बंधो मोहि सावधाना माते, जहर प्रसादे भाई ए भव तोरिया जाय। कृष्ण प्राप्ति होय जहाँ होय ते गुरुमुख पद्मा वाक्या चित्ते ते कोरिया ऐक्या आरना कोरियो मने आशा श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति जे प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा जे प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेदे गाय जार चरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेरा जीवाना आहा प्रभु कोरो दोया देहो मोरे पद छाया ए बेजास गुशुक त्रिभुवाना श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतित पवाना गुरु श्री गुरुदेव ले लो हमें शराना लो शराना प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नामो विष्णुपाद परमहंस नित्यलीला प्रविष्टा इस डिवाइन ग्रेस इसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की राधा कृष्ण गौर गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिर गोवर्धन की वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की मायापुर नवदी धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की अयोध्या धाम की द्वारकाधीश की गंगा माई की जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय सामवेद भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain true devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take the shelter of your lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.